Joe Biden's new proposed billionaire's minimum tax will make sure that the minuscule percent of folks with more than $100 million would pay at least a 20% income tax rate. Like I am, like you probably are. Sounds good, right? Stick it to them, Joe. Now, I'd like to see an attached promise of what that money's going to be used for. Are we collecting what would amount to $80 billion just to hand it over to weapons manufacturers and fossil fuel companies? Or are we planning to fund the green energy revolution at a universal basic income? That's what I'd be for. So, what say you, Joe Biden? Biden is also proposing a long overdue corporate tax hike from the current 21% that companies are now evading to a 28% rate that they'll have to circumvent later. By the way, FedEx paid zero taxes in 2020, year of the pandemic and getting everything delivered at home. FedEx paid zero. They even got a $230 million rebate from the government, and they still didn't deliver my swim goggles. What's that money for? Anyway, I hate to say it, but I think Biden's ideas may all be kind of a little bit of propaganda, maybe some red meat for the Warren wing. The Warren wing, of course, used to be the Bernie wing, but since Bernie's probably not running for president again, economic progressives are like, Warren, we'll take her. She's all we got. Anyway, by the way, Fox News is trying to make your pops feel bad for that poor punished billionaire who might not be able to afford his second 18 square mile luxury underground apocalypse bunker. Meanwhile, Republicans, or at least this one, we got a picture of Rick Scott here in Florida somewhere. Let me find somewhere. There he is. Republicans are fighting back with a proposal to raise taxes on the lowest income 40%. Democrats want to raise taxes on billionaires, the people who can afford it. Republicans are wanting to raise taxes on the lowest 40%. By the way, it would be upwards of $1,000 that they will try to squeeze out of people who definitely don't have it every year. That's right. Senator Rick Scott of Florida, where else, has proposed that we tax the poor who don't have the money to pay it. It's insane. I don't know what he's thinking. Ask him, I guess. His talking point is about how all Americans should contribute. So get up out of that wheelchair, Granny, and pay your fair share, right? Scott's plan is so radical that even some pushback is coming from conservatives, not because they care about the poor, but more so because they care about smearing the Democrats as the tax raiser party. They don't want to be the tax raiser party. Scott's response, yeah, but this tax is for the poors. Republicans don't like the poors. And the poors we do like, the white ones, will just think this is for the ones we don't. Conservatives, that was my Rick Scott impression. Did you like it? Conservatives are also concerned that Rick Scott's plan undercuts their other screeching point that the poors are getting a free ride. Well, everyone around here works, mister. If the poors start paying an unaffordable tax, you wouldn't be able to call them welfare queens, and Fox News would lose 60% of its daily content. So this is a tricky one for Scott to propose. And at first, honestly, it doesn't make any sense. It hits people with incomes too low to owe any tax anyway. So again, how are they going to pay for it? Will the government be making any money? I don't think so. These folks are going to be racking up debt yearly. And then the IRS will come and seize their stuff, garnish their wages, and make everyone into a scofflaw. In some places, up to 50% of the population is going to find themselves under the yoke of this unpayable tax. These are mostly the southern states, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, the whole Bible Belt, really. And of course, Senator Rick Scott's home state, Florida, which I guess is the Bible penis. Currently, you can only go to jail for tax law violations if criminal charges are filed against you and you are prosecuted and sentenced in a criminal proceeding. That's unless you're the former president of the United States, because that never happened to Trump. The most common tax crimes are tax fraud and tax evasion. By the way, I Googled, can you go to jail for not paying your taxes? And I'm sure that has put me on some kind of IRS watch list. You're welcome. Please donate to my Patreon account to spring me out of that jail once they come and grab me. Anyway, could Rick Scott have an ulterior motive for turning half the South into criminals? Could he? Well, in 2028, no candidate in the country received more aid from private prisons than he did. The Geo Group, a company that operates 5 prisons, private prisons, the ones that are for profit, in Florida alone, 5 in Florida alone, that group and its CEO donated about more than $400,000 to Scott's last Senate campaign, along with various connected political committees that he needed, et cetera, et cetera. You may recall the Geo Group for being accused by the ACLU of torturing detainees or being named the deadliest ICE detention center in 2018. But wait, there's more. Geo illegally gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Trump campaign and has been sued multiple times for not feeding detainees and forcing them to work for food. Could Rick Scott just be setting up a large portion of the lower income population to feed this private prison industry complex? I'm not saying it's true, but it sure sounds fishy. Remember, tyrants are always playing the long game. I'm Julianna Forlano. We'll be right back with the Action Rundown.